Hello, 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 Facebook.
Hello.
It's Vanette Hill and Denise with another episode of Sister Self Care Sunday.
Yes.
So, Denise, how was your week, girl?
My week was pretty good. Pretty good. This weekend I haven't done anything, just, been relaxing and everything. So that's
Okay.
always good when you could just stay home and do nothing.
When we talk about Sister Self Care Sunday, sometimes doing nothing is actually doing a whole lot. So
Yes,
sometimes
it
we
is.
need to do nothing to recuperate from all the something we've been doing, right?
Yes, exactly.
Now, what are we talking about this week, Denise?
Well, what we're talking about this week is releasing bad relationships. And that's something that's near and dear to all of our hearts. All of us have been through relationships, over the past that we were in toxic relationships that we definitely needed to get rid of. And this goes both for both men and women. So,
Absolutely, absolutely. And when we talk about releasing bad relationships and things like that, it is knowing when, right?
exactly.
When to do it. And it's just can be difficult sometimes
It
understanding
really can.
when to do it.
Exactly.
Now, how do you know, Denise, when it's time to release a relationship?
Well, if you're constantly feeling drained after, interactions with that person, or that because you got to remember that all relationships should be uplifting and not weighing you down. If you're walking on eggshells all of the time, if you're constantly arguing, and if you are constantly feeling down and different things of that nature, then it's time for you to kind of reevaluate the situation. Definitely.
Okay. Okay. And when we reevaluate it, I think sometimes some of the ways to know when it's time, right? When is it time? Um, I think it deals with trusting your gut feelings. Like, what's
Yes,
your gut?
definitely.
And sometimes we ignore our intuition, ladies. I
And
know
we
I
all
have
have
been
it.
guilty of it. I
Yeah.
have been guilty of it. Um, and in the past, I would make excuses for the other person's bad behavior.
Don't we do that? We always do that. Always.
And so tolerating bad relationships really comes from a place in us where we don't value ourselves enough. Because
Exactly.
anytime we allow somebody to mistreat us with bad behaviors or
Hmm.
just not treating us what how we should be treated, ladies. When
Exactly.
we tolerate that for a long period of time after we've communicated and communicated and they're not changing that behavior and we're making excuses, guess what?
Yep.
We own that.
Hmm.
We own that. And I know I have been guilty of
Me
know,
too.
making excuses. And my gut was saying, like, this ain't right. Like, I wasn't happy. How many
Yes.
times you've been in relationships and you like, you know what? I'm just not happy. You might have spurts. I'm not saying the whole time you miserable. So you might have a few good moments, but you linger and hold on to those few good moments like that's the whole relationship. And let's say the
Exactly.
majority of the relationship has not been positive or good, and you're tolerating it. So you have to listen to your gut.
Hmm. Or they're being disrespectful. But you know what I really think it is? What I really think it is that we as women, we always think I'm going to be the one to change them. If they
Ooh,
show their true colors before you get with them, ladies, guess what? You are not going to be the one to change them, because God above is the only person that can change a person. Stop thinking that you're going to change these men and that they're going to do what you want them to do, because that is not happening. I'm here to tell you
absolutely.
from experience.
Me too. you think you can change them, or you hear a sad story and you're like, oh, they just need somebody to believe in them.
Exactly.
And it's not to say you can't be with somebody who had a sad story and you be there. However, if that person is not making, if you putting in more effort to change them than they are in changing their own selves,
Yes.
then that's not healthy. It's not healthy when you're with somebody who isn't aligned to your values and your beliefs.
Yes.
Like, let's say you really want to be in a monogamous relationship and they hit you with this line: we grown, just go with the flow. What? Hit you with the line, why we got to put a label on it?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Hmm.
You know, and then what they call that, gaslighting or something. Why we got to put a label on it or something?
Right.
We both grown. We ain't got to put labels on it. Just go with the flow,
Right. Right.
right? And there is levels to this thing called being in a relationship, dating, or what have you. And so, you know, I was watching a movie last night, and this lady went on one date with this guy. One date. The first date with this guy.
Mm.
And she wanted to invite him into her place because she was like ready to go. She was ready. And he leaned over and just was like, have a good evening. And like let her out the car. And she was like mad because
Mhm.
he didn't want to jump her bones. So she was like, you're not going to be stringing me along. And I'm like, it's the first date. So it's levels
Exactly.
to this stuff, right? When we talk
Exactly.
so if you've been dating somebody for a while and you're getting to know each other, and during the course of that introductory time period, he's telling you he's enjoying his freedom, he's enjoying
Yes.
not being tied down, and he's
Yes.
telling you,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want a relationship,
Yeah.
right? And but in the process of him telling you that, you look at, well, he's always taking me to these nice restaurants. We're always
Right.
going to concerts. We're hanging out together. We're doing all this stuff together. That don't mean nothing. That just means he's a good dater. Like, he has great
Yes.
dating etiquette and
Yes.
he's a good guy. But he's told you, and this is to what Denise said, if somebody tells you and shows you who they are,
Yes.
ladies,
Believe them.
believe them.
Yes.
If somebody says, you know what, I'm not looking for a relationship right now, I don't want a relationship right now, believe them.
Yes.
Believe them, because I have been guilty of that in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Wine and dine me. I'm thinking, well, we're doing everything that couples do. We appear to be a couple. We're together all the time.
Yes.
No, ma'am. That is no,
That's
ma'am.
how he does everyone.
Sorry about everybody. It's just when your day show up, that's
Yes.
why you get treated. So, but we're talking about releasing bad relationships. So
Yes.
it's critical to understand when it is time to
Yes.
let it go,
Mm-hmm.
right? You start feeling bad about yourself.
Exactly.
He makes you feel like you're nothing,
Mhm.
or like you're asking for too much, because maybe what you want is more than he can offer.
Exactly.
For him is too much, but it doesn't mean that what you're asking for is too much. It just means that
He.
he doesn't
Yeah.
have the capacity to
Yes.
give you what you want.
Doesn't want to. Exactly.
Exactly. And so oftentimes we will attach our emotions on how we feel about the other person. Like, if I'm in love with you, I'm thinking like, we in this thing. But I'm in love with you. That's nothing. My love for you, our love for them ladies, has nothing to do with how they feel about us.
Exactly.
Right. But oftentimes, because we're attached to that emotion of how we feel about them, we like, I'm gonna stick it out.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, not sticking nothing out. He out there in the wind doing with him like whatever he want to do. And you like, I'm gonna stick this out. So we have to understand, you know, when it's time to let go of these relationships.
Also, if you're being disrespected, that should never be tolerated as well too. And especially if it's consistently. And then also too, like Vanette said, if you're starting to feel your self-esteem going down, and men do have a way, women do too, but men have a way when they definitely want to control a woman. They know how to make us feel, oh, don't nobody want you. You got this or this, that, and the other is, going on to whereas you're starting to feel, bad about your self-worth, your self-esteem, and things of that nature. It's definitely time because you have to
But
realize, lady, even if you have kids,
oh,
just like he,
absolutely.
just like he with you with kids. Guess what? It's somebody else out there that can be with you as well. So don't ever put yourself down to whereas you're thinking that no one will ever
Want
want
you.
you.
Right. But you touched on something when you said that, how he'll make you feel like, nobody will want to be with you.
Mm-hmm.
And ladies, sometimes we want to be in a relationship so bad, but we have a lot of growth that we need to do ourselves. And we end
Yes.
up attracting people that
Yes.
will prey on your vulnerability
Yes, they
or your
will. Mm-hmm.
insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it can be devastating if you enter in a relationship looking for somebody to complete you
Mm-hmm.
and you meet somebody and he makes you feel special. You should feel special all by your darn self.
Exactly.
Because if the only time you feel special was when that man made you feel special, now you're dependent upon him emotionally to make you feel special. So when he turns and says, you know what, you're not special, or he starts doing things that makes you feel like you're not special, and he may
Yes.
even say, no, nobody gonna put up with you,
Yes.
with X, Y, and Z. You start to believe that. Why? Because you placed your value on him and how he
Yes.
perceives you. You have to value yourself, ladies. Ladies, when I realized how I value myself and my self-worth,
Mm-hmm.
listen, ain't gonna be no more bad relationships, mistreatments. You
Exactly.
might have relationships that come to an end because they played their role, right?
Yes.
That's different. And it's time to let go, right? But when
Mm-hmm.
you're staying in a bad relationship, it's not good for you mentally, physically, emotionally.
Exactly.
It will, it can stunt your development, your growth.
It can make you ill.
It can mess with your health. Absolutely,
Yes.
definitely make you heal, give you ill, give you high blood pressure,
Yes.
right? Right? Anxiety, um,
Overeating, overweight,
depression.
depression. Yes.
Yes, yes. So being able to identify when you're in a bad relationship is one thing, ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Then understanding the impacts. See, it's important that you
Oh yeah.
understand what being in that bad relationship can do to you. It affects your health, your mental well-being.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've got to figure out, now that you know like the symptoms of if you're in a bad relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get that feeling, And how do you get out of it though, right? How do you navigate to get out of it on the other side of this thing?
But Vanette, before we go there, let me just tell you too, ladies, when you have daughters, it is so important, and I mean so important. Like my grandkids, my granddaughters, I tell them, I say, you guys are beautiful. Don't ever let a man tell you that you're not. Don't ever get in a relationship to whereas you feel that, and we know that they may, but the thing is when you build up their self-confidence, when you build up their, self-worth as a child growing up, then maybe this won't be whereas they get in relationships where they're being tore down
Well,
because they've already been instilled that in them all the way, growing up in their lives to where they say, you know what, I don't need a man to validate me. I know who I am as a woman or as a person, and that's what we have to do with our children, regardless of whether it's a boy or a girl. You always want to
absolutely.
let them know who they are, and that they don't have to tolerate these things. So
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. It's important that we let our children know not just that they're beautiful, right?
yes, not that, just that.
Society will tell you if your beauty is based on your beauty. Your beauty is a reflection of your worth, right?
Right,
And
right, right. Not just the beauty, and I'm not talking about
who
just
perceives
beauty
you,
that you
right?
look good. Yeah.
So, but we want to make sure and clear that our children, our sisters out there that's watching this,
Yes.
that it's so critically important that you understand you are worthy
Yes,
all
you are.
by yourself. You are
Yeah.
enough
And
all
now,
by yourself. But
yeah.
what happens is we come from generations of broken homes, right? At least
Yeah.
I did. Father wasn't there, abandonment issues, which causes um self-esteem issues for sure, right?
Yes.
Because if the first person in your life that represented men was
Hmm.
not there for you and
Yeah.
abandoned you, children will internalize that as they left me because there's something wrong with me,
Exactly. Yes,
right?
they will.
Because that's the only way they know how to rationalize that until somebody else can explain it differently. Now, naturally, when you get older, you start doing some self-care, some self-development, getting some
Yes.
self-awareness, you can make sense of it. But let's face it, when I was younger, I really wasn't making sense of it, and so I thought I saw examples of bad behavior when I was growing up, right?
Hmm.
So it became acceptable. So we have
Exactly.
to be careful of the environments and what we are demonstrating to our children
Yes.
once you are grown, right? So here we are now, it's Self Care Sunday, and we're talking about we're grown women right now.
Hmm.
We're in these relationships,
Yes.
engaging with people. It's so important to work on self, ladies. It's
Yes.
never too late to build your confidence,
Never.
your esteem.
Never.
And don't think because you're a woman of a certain age
Hmm.
to settle for the shenanigans out there,
Oh yeah.
because they have some wonderful men out there, right?
Hmm.
But if you're always accepting less than, you will never get what's really meant for you.
Exactly.
So we have to learn that when people show you who they are, believe them. And I
Yeah.
believe you have to see a person in all the seasons, y'all,
Oh yeah.
to know who they really are, because you can meet some people, and as long as y'all getting along, the relationship is beautiful. As long as y'all never have a disagreement on something, the
Exactly.
relationship is beautiful. As long you know what I mean? If
Yes.
you never run a bump in the road, you feel like I'm in the best relationship of my life. If
Yes.
if you haven't seen somebody mad,
Yes.
sad, disappointed,
Hmm.
right? Jealous, you got to see a variety of emotions to know who exactly you are dealing with, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Um, and then once you start seeing, oh, and then start to ask the questions. I always tell ladies, and I always do this myself. I've always done it. I always try to find out about how did the person grow up?
Hmm.
What was their relationship with their mom and their dad? You
Yes.
know, um, when they're in love in their past relationships and they were in love, how did you treat the person you were in love with?
Yes.
Right? You know, when the relationship didn't work out, what happened? And when you
Hmm.
hear people tell stories, and if every relationship they talk about, they always a victim, sis,
Oh yeah. Run.
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 Because if they were always the victim, that means they're making poor choices and they don't really know who they are.
Yes.
So that's something you don't want. And I can remember I had a friend, and she met somebody, and she was like, the first time they went out that first day, she was like, he was like talking marriage. I was like, he crazy. I was like, she was like, she got offended though. She was like, why he got to be crazy because he said he want to marry me? I was like, it's nothing against you, but yeah, that's crazy. He don't know nothing about you. And
Oh,
dude talking about he want to marry specifically you. It's different if you meet somebody and they say, I'm ready to be married.
is
I'm dating with the intention of marrying somebody,
yeah.
want to get to know you. But when somebody come to you and they like, first date, you gonna be my wife. You don't even know me. Now, I'm
Right.
not saying that hasn't happened. So
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
Exactly.
sure there have been some instances in the world where that does happen, but there's a higher percentage that that's not how that happens. That's not how that happens. But it can,
Okay.
because Jesus,
That's true.
miracles can happen, right?
Yes.
But on the regular, ladies, you just got to really, really take the time to know yourself, know
Yeah.
what you want, and don't feel guilty about when you meet somebody and they seem so charming and handsome, but they just not ready for what you're ready for.
Exactly.
If they're not ready for what you're ready for, but you're like, well, I'm just gonna, see what it's like, or hang out with them anyway, you're setting yourself up for disappointment.
Especially if you're not in that same mindset.
That part.
Yes,
Because
because if you're
then
looking
y'all not.
for, oh, I want a husband, but he's telling you
Yeah.
that he wants to date and he's not ready for marriage or doesn't even want to get married, and you're staying in that relationship, you're definitely setting yourself up. Because if he says he never wants to get married, trust me, he never wants to get married. It's nothing that you're going to do that's going to change his mind. And so, if that's what you're looking for, or you're looking for a relationship to where you say, okay, he says that he just wants to date, go out, have a good time. You know what? That's where I am right now. I don't want anything serious or anything like that. Let's just go out and have a good time. Then you guys are both aligned at the time.
Right. Absolutely.
So,
On the same page.
exactly.
But as soon as the page turn,
Mm-hmm.
you just better know better read the book good now.
Yes.
Read
Yes.
the book good. So, as we talk about releasing bad relationships, when it's time to let go, depending on how long you've been in a relationship, it can be very, very traumatic. It can be very heartbreaking. And I think most of my friends know, when I break up with somebody, or, the relationship is dissolved, I have been the type of person where I have to take at least 2 weeks, to where it's so funny. I remember I took 2 weeks to get over this one person. Now, when I say get over, I mean get over the hard crying. The one where your shoulders go like this. When you can't catch your breath, you're like, okay, like it took me 2 weeks for that, y'all. Okay. But I've always believed in feeling the grief and grieving the relationship.
Yes.
And I was listening to Heather Hadley. This is no dig on Heather Hadley, but I was listening to Heather Hadley. Listen, y'all. I wish I know that's what I'm talking about.
Oh my goodness.
I said Heather Hadley, and I was listening to who else? That Tony Braxton. Let me tell you,
Yeah.
another sad love song.
Right.
Love should have brought you home. When I tell
Oh
you,
my
I was curled
goodness.
up in the dark listening to those songs. Finally, I had to snap out of it. But
Yeah.
I just had to grow through the grief. And once you go through the grief, um, give
Yes.
yourself some time to go through the grief. Cry it out.
Yes.
When you lose
Yes.
a relationship, it is the death of something. It's the
Yeah.
end of one thing, but it's the birth of something else.
Yes.
So when we say release it, get over it, listen to what you're feeling, because you need to honor yourself first by acknowledging, I'm hurt. It
And
don't
don't go
matter
from one
that you put
relationship
a
to the
star
next.
sign. It don't matter, you know, maybe you played yourself because you
Yeah.
allowed them to do certain. Do not, make yourself um accountable for his bad behavior.
Yes.
Just allow yourself to feel the emotion of, you know what, I'm hurt right now.
Yes.
Like, I'm really hurt and I'm heartbroken, and feel that so it can move through you. Because
Yes.
if you try to suppress it and say, I'm gonna get back out there, I'm gonna do just like them.
Do that.
Don't do that.
No.
Don't do that, because you're not dealing with the heartbreak, and you're going to take that heartbreak into the next relationship, and you'll either
Yes.
attract
Yes.
somebody worse than
Yes.
the last one,
Mm-hmm.
or you'll meet a really nice guy, but you won't be able to receive him because you're still carrying the hurt from the
Yes.
other person,
Yep.
right?
That's so
So
true.
you have to make sure, ladies, that you give yourself some time to really examine that bad relationship,
Hmm.
right? Release it. And
Yeah.
when you release it, start distancing yourself from that person, right? You know what I mean? Um, when I was much younger, I used to keep people phone numbers still in my phone, and I used to be flattered when they called back. I was so goofy. Be flattered when they call back, like, oh, they're thinking of it. But then when I put on my big girl bloomers, look,
Yes.
when I grew up and put on the big girl bloomers, and when I was done with you, guess what? I blocked the call because I didn't even want to know you thought about me no more. I was
Exactly.
done, right? I
Exactly.
was done. So it's
But
important to distance yourself. It's important. And then sometimes women, we say we need closure, right? Because sometimes they might ghost you, right?
yes.
I've been a recipient of a ghost of a Casper. What they call them? I've been a recipient of a Casper, the friendly ghost, where they just ghosted you. Like y'all go from talking, and all of a sudden you can't reach a dude no more.
Exactly.
He was done, right? And then as women, we're feeling what we need closure.
Hmm.
So we're trying to reach out because we want to tell them, how dare you, blah, 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 blah. And we want to tell them this is over, but it's already over with them. There's
Exactly.
nothing to tell because they gone already. So when it's over for us, it's important that you say what you need to say to the person
Hmm.
and then be done with it,
But
because
Vanette, and you're absolutely correct about that. But then you have some women, they release a toxic relationship, and then they let that individual come back and
they
say
didn't release it.
that
They didn't
exactly.
release it.
Exactly. They'll let the individual come back. You go through all the hardship, you crying, 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 crying. And then that person step out, do what he want to do and be like, oh, okay, well, let me just come back. And, then they start the same thing all over again. Ladies, they have not changed. It's still the same thing that you just went through. Why would you ever go back? You
But
know,
they go back, Denise. Again, it goes back to self.
yes,
Because think about it. Ladies, your daughters are your jewels. Your
yes,
children are your jewels.
yes,
If you wouldn't want your daughter to be in a relationship with like with an individual that you're in a relationship with,
exactly,
you don't need to be in a relationship with that person.
exactly.
you know but we tend to give more grace to those who don't deserve it because we don't have
Yes,
enough grace and love for ourselves. And
exactly.
that's what this self-care Sunday is about. This is not about men bashing at all. This is
Right.
just saying that if you're in a relationship that is not serving you well,
Mm-hmm.
you need to release that thing, because holding on to people, places, or things that are
Yeah.
not serving you will
Yes.
anchor you down. It will keep you stuck. It will
Mhm.
prevent you from moving forward. And that saying that forgiveness is more for you than them is so
Yes.
true, because when you
Yes.
are harboring
Hatred.
anger, resentment, hurt, that other person out there, what that boy said, I'm living my best life,
Yes.
out there just and what we doing? Like when I took my 2 weeks and I was curled up listening to Heather Hadley and Tony Braxton,
Right.
he was out there living his best life. But that was my process, y'all, to move forward.
Yeah.
Because when I let it go, I let it go. When I let
Exactly.
you go, I don't go back. When I let
Yes.
you go, I don't go back.
Exactly.
I don't
No.
go back. This is not the Aaliyah song back and forth and forth.
Right.
We're not
Exactly.
doing that. We're not doing
Exactly.
that. So I want you all to really focus on, like, what type of relationship do you want?
Mm-hmm.
And then when you come out of that relationship, like I said, go through the emotion, acknowledge the emotion, because
Yeah.
it's so important, because your feelings matter, because you matter. But then you've got to be like, you know what? Let me start working on me.
Exactly.
Because let me start
Oh,
working on me.
yes.
Because number one, I need to love myself so much that
Mm-hmm.
I get offended at the thought that somebody else might be disrespectful to me, disrespecting
Yes.
me, or not treating me how I deserve to be treated, right?
Hmm.
But if we don't feel that way about ourselves,
Yes.
we're going to allow other people, right, to
To treat us
mistreat us
that way.
because we're mistreating ourselves by allowing somebody else
Yep.
to mistreat us, right?
People will only treat you the way that you allow them to.
And you teach people how to treat you. You
Yeah.
teach people how to treat you. You know, it's crazy because, you know, I have friends who have dated people, and one person always attract people who love to date her the way she likes to be dated. Like they're traveling, they're doing everything, they're a gentleman. It just turns out she's just not aligned to them enough to stay in that relationship. But she always meets really nice individuals. Then I had another person, but she was attracting those slick talkers,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the ones who was, I'll stop by your house. You want to come over so I can cook for you? No, I don't know you
Exactly.
like that. I don't come over your house and you cook for me. I don't want to come over your house and you cook for me. Now, when we booed up, that's different. And it's like, we in the kitchen cooking together. That's cute.
Right.
But when
Right.
y'all getting to know each other, number one, I don't want to come to your house. And you're not going to
Mhm.
know where I live. Denise know how
Right.
I am.
Oh no.
You will not know where I live. You know what I mean? Until I really get to know you,
Exactly.
because folks is crazy out there. Okay.
Oh yeah. We didn't get into the psycho people.
We'll get into that on another
Yeah,
episode. We can do a
another
whole
episode.
episode on that. But we're talking about releasing bad relationships.
Yes.
And you have to know who you are, ladies.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm gonna be very transparent. I used to always say, what's wrong with me? The reason why I keep getting these knuckleheads.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would be mad at them for mistreating me. And then one day, I promise y'all, it was like the Lord spoke to me and he was like, why are you mad at them? When they showed you who they were, why did you stay in it?
Exactly.
Because they showed you who they were. So at the point they show you who they are, that's when you leave it alone, right?
Exactly.
But it was, he was so fine, or he was so handsome, or well, when we went out, we had fun.
Mm-hmm.
You saw all those other signs you wanted to ignore because you was surface
Yeah.
shopping. You was shopping on the surface. Now it's time to start looking for something deeper. You need to
Mm-hmm.
look at the character of the man.
Yes.
That's who the real man is, his character.
Mm-hmm.
You got a man who want to just, well, what you doing? I hate those last minute things. I had to tell somebody back when my sons was younger, I could only go out like on the weekend or whatever. And, one person want to call up. I was like, listen, um, through the week, I'll be like, well, what we doing this weekend? And they hit you with the, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell y'all something, ladies. If he don't know what he doing on the weekend, that's code for I'm keeping my options open to see if something else come through that I really want to do.
Exactly.
Because if he don't have nothing planned, how come he not planning it with you?
Exactly. Ding ding ding.
So, needless to say, I caught on to that one. And I was like, okay. I'm like, let me tell you this. I'm like, I got something for that. Let me
Right.
tell you this. You want to go out with me? You're going to have to make plans in advance. I'm going to need to know by Wednesday of every week if we're going to see each other. Otherwise, I'm making
Yes.
plans or I'm doing something. And
Yes.
even when I wasn't doing anything, ladies, sometimes I still just pick the phone up, or I wouldn't pick the phone up at all and just be like, you know what? I was busy. I was doing something. Maybe I was sitting at home watching TV, but guess what, y'all? That was still busy doing something. I was doing me.
Exactly.
So when people show you who they are,
Believe them.
and they show you a number of different things. I'm not saying be petty,
Mhm.
ladies. Like, don't be super petty on, petty stuff. But when they show you they're not a man of their word, they say they're going to be there and they're constantly late all the time, or they're constantly making excuses why they can't talk to you after a certain hour, or like, oh man, I couldn't talk to you. I was asleep.
Yes. My phone died.
Or hit you with the I was out of town. Like everybody my cell phone work in a whole nother country. What phone you got?
Exactly.
I was out of town. Anywho, the fact of the matter is, ladies, if you get somebody that is not aligning to you, your
Mm.
values, who you are as an individual, and if you're feeling sad, unfulfilled, not happy,
Yes.
anxious, um, or you'll always be disappointed, you need to reevaluate that and be able to release that. And then when you're
Exactly.
releasing it, you need to start pouring into you
Yes.
again. Because when you get to a place where you love yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you ain't gonna you're gonna be the best protector of your heart, your mind, your
And
body,
yes.
anybody. You're gonna honor yourself in ways of never before. And when people will pick up and feel your energy
Yeah,
and know I can't even approach her with no foolishness.
exactly.
I don't get people that approach me with the foolery. I don't get people that approach me with the foolery because I'm not about the foolery. I'm not
Exactly.
about the okey doke. I don't need slick daddy coming in with them that slick talk stuff. None of that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? None of that. So just start, really spending time and evaluate those relationships because everyone deserves to be in a relationship that works for you. That's
Exactly.
what you want, that
Mm.
makes you happy.
Happy. Yes.
But the key is make sure you're trying to make yourself happy, that you're
Mhm.
not depending on another person
Person on
to
this
make
earth.
you happy
Yes.
or to feel fulfilled.
Yes.
Because if that's the case, you are going to continuously find yourself on a revolving wheel of foolery.
Yes.
You have to understand that we own our own happiness, our
Yes, we
own
do.
fulfillment. And it starts with understanding who you are. So if you're holding on to past hurt, right,
Mhm.
and then you're always looking for something external to patch you up or heal you, you're going to run into these situations. And we just want to help you to be able to release the toxicity, um,
Yes.
and to find healthy relationships where you can talk, where if y'all have disagreements, guess what, y'all talking it out.
Mhm.
Nobody hollering and screaming at you. I have not had nobody holler and scream at me. That's crazy. When I see people going through that, that's crazy.
Mhm.
Hollering, screaming, calling people out their name, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yes.
I don't holler. I've never hollered. Ever. Why would I holler at you? Raise my voice at you. I'm not doing that. And I'm not gonna allow you to do that to me. Cause
Mhm.
I'm not getting ready to get in a shouting match. I'll just leave and we be done. Cause I'm like, like so
Oh.
what else you gotta say? What's some good tips, Denise, for releasing these bad relationships?
So, like Vanette said, once you determine that you are need to release this relationship, it's definitely going to help your mental and emotional health. It's going to help you, to improve your mental and your emotional health. A lot of times, sometimes we have to seek counseling or therapy, ladies.
Yeah.
Like you said, with the self care and and just taking yourself, once you leave that relationship and say, okay, let me start working on me. What do I want? Let me start getting myself together. Let me start getting myself together mentally, physically, emotionally, sometimes financially, and so that I can just be the whole package so that when God does send the person for me, guess what? I'm already ready for him.
Yes.
Sometimes you have to get yourself in that mental state, and sometimes, ladies, you can't do it alone. You may have to get a counselor or a therapist to help you. And I know that, sometimes in our culture, people say, oh, get a therapist and get a, counselor or whatever. Yes. Or somebody that can, that you can talk to that's not going to
Absolutely.
be biased. Someone's
Mm-hmm.
going to tell you how it is, and that's why we should always, cherish those friends that you may have that's in a close circle that don't just tell you what you want to hear. You may need to get yourself in a circle around some people that's going to tell you the truth and be like, girl, no, let me just tell you, don't get mad, but you do have this tendency, or you do have that. But you know what I'm saying, either your circle that's a good circle, or a
Yeah.
therapist, or a counselor
Yeah.
that's going to help you, to navigate through your emotions, and provide you with some clarity. That's what you need at this point. That's one of
Absolutely.
the tips that can definitely help you, in regards to, helping yourself
Mm-hmm.
out of that
Absolutely.
situation. So,
So, in the comments, I like to ask, to the audience, we like to hear from you. What are some signs or some lessons that that is a red flag for you? Like, this ain't working.
mm-hmm.
Like in the comments, hey Yolanda, hey Yo-Yo. In the comments, put something in the comments like, what's a red flag for you? A red flag for me is when somebody is like, their actions is not lining up to their words. Liars.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's so funny. I had somebody once who told me that they were out of town, right? And they said that they took a flight. Listen, they said they took a
um,
flight from Chicago to Toronto to get to Detroit. Now, I don't know how many of you all fly on standby. I fly standby. I used to fly standby sometimes. Do you know how many flights they got that's coming out of Chicago to come straight to Detroit? There is absolutely no reason to go to Toronto,
another
and they
country.
don't divert any flights to Toronto to get to Detroit. And I sat across from this person. I said, "Is that the story you want to tell me? Like, that's really the story you want to tell me?" And this fool was like, "Yup." I was like, so the lies. It's the
Yeah.
lies for me, y'all. It's the lies for me. Oh my goodness. It's the lies. And I don't like the cheapery.
Yes.
Oh, I don't like the cheapery. I'm not trying to get you to treat me any better than I treat myself. And I treat
Yeah.
myself well. I
Mm-hmm.
treat myself well. And this is no shade to Applebee's, because low key, sometime every now and then I might go get me an Applebee plate or
Oh
something.
yeah.
I
Yes.
can remember somebody had took me to Applebee's and he was like, "I took you to Applebee's." I was like, "What?" I was like, "Am I
Oh,
supposed to be impressed that you took me to
exactly.
Applebee's?" I was like,
Exactly.
"I could have took myself to Applebee's." That's when you selected off how your pockets was running. It's about, "I took you to Applebee's." I was like, okay. I was like, Lord, today. But that was years ago, because now I don't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
I love myself, and I've been in a
Right.
very good relationship, very healthy relationship, for the last 5 years. So I do want to say this though, seriously, getting back to being serious. Ladies, love on you.
Yes.
If
Yes.
your relationship is leaving you unsatisfied, take some time to really examine your relationship. Write down the pros and cons of the relationship. Write down, where is this relationship going? You know,
Yes.
do you both believe in marriage? I mean, some people don't believe in marriage. So, I mean,
Mhm.
Tina Turner stayed with her boo before she got married 20 years. They was together 20 years before they got married.
Mhm.
And guess what? It worked for them.
Exactly.
So this is not to say that just because y'all don't want to be married, meaning it ain't gonna work. I'm not saying
Exactly.
that at all. But what I am saying is, are y'all on the same accord?
Yes. And you know what? Also, like we've been saying, and indulging in self-care and doing things that make you feel confident within yourself. And being able to tell people no, or just
Or
walking
speak up and
away.
say what you don't like. If you're in a
Exactly.
relationship and you can't share how
Mhm.
you feel,
Exactly.
or they dismiss your feelings. Like you
Yes.
tell somebody something and they're like, get over it or whatever,
Mhm.
or it's not a big deal, and they're
Exactly.
continuing to do that the thing that you tell them,
Not to.
well, not to, because it hurts you, because
Mhm.
it impacts you, right? You have to be your own best advocate.
Exactly. And that doesn't make you selfish. You know what I'm saying? It makes you wise. So don't ever think that, because you're telling people, no, I don't want to do that, or no, you're not going to treat me this way, or no, you
Absolutely.
should not feel guilty at all,
At all.
or feel that you're being selfish, and that's what a
Mhm.
lot of women feel. Well, I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to make him feel bad. Well, heck, he ain't thinking the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, or she's not thinking the same thing, because this
That's
is a
true
two-way
too.
street with men as well. I've seen a lot of men being in toxic
Yeah,
relationships, and
absolutely.
everything, and it's the same thing. So this is just
Yeah.
not, even though we talking to Sister Self Care Sunday for the ladies out there that's within the group, but there's a lot of men that's out there that's going through the same
Yes,
situation. So
absolutely. So I agree. So we just hope this Sister Self Care Sunday has been informative, if nothing else, and hopefully, if there's anybody out there going through a bad relationship or coming out of a bad relationship, that
mhm,
you can, not beat yourself up, but take the time to really begin to focus on you,
yes,
understanding your needs, making sure you're clear on what you want for yourself, and that's how you're showing up, right?
mhm,
So make sure you're showing up the way you want to be received, and
mhm,
know that you're worthy and you're enough. So don't settle for less.
yes.
Accept what is going to add to your life, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Seek to make yourself fulfilled and happy all on your own. Find ways to enjoy your life all on your own. And then the sheer fact somebody that also enjoys the life that you're demonstrating, and they'll gravitate to you. Thank you, Yo Yo. Yo Yo said, thank you, ladies. Thank
Mhm.
you.
Yeah, just remember, releasing bad relationships isn't about the other person. It is definitely about you and how you want to be treated. Remember to love yourselves enough that you're not just putting up with anything that's no longer serving you, or helping you to become a better person. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
that's the main key, is being able to love yourself enough, and being able to just say, hey, it's I'm a person, it's about me, as well as it's about this other person. And if you both can't be on the receiving end of building each other up, then hey.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. And you brought out something that's really good, is that it's not about the other person at the end of the day. If you're It's about, are you feeling fulfilled and happy in that?
Yes,
Does it
exactly.
meet your needs? And if it
Yep.
doesn't, we don't have to, like, you don't have to villainize the other person, right?
No,
Sometimes it's just not a good
definitely.
match or whatever. And you don't have to make him a criminal, this and the third. You just have to be able to
Mhm.
use your voice and speak up and say, you know what, this isn't working for me.
Exactly.
It's not working for me. And you don't have to make him out to be a bad guy or anything.
Exactly.
Um and pay attention to people. Make sure you see them in all the seasons so you completely understand who you're dealing with,
Exactly.
and love yourself more.
Yes.
All right. Well, I guess that's our episode of Sister Self Care Sunday, y'all. Thank you so much for being
Thank
with
you.
us. What you getting ready to do now, Denise?
Well, I'm probably just gonna sit back and relax, and I might have a glass of wine and just, sit back and just, relax for the Sunday, and get myself together for tomorrow, for work, for the work week and everything. But yeah,
Okay.
nothing, too much for the evening. I'm just, hey, enjoying my weekend and doing absolutely nothing. Because I run so much all the time.
I know, I
Mhm.
know. Well,
And
I'm just
everything. So. Yeah.
I'm gonna relax a little bit today. I really do need to go through my closet and I need to purge some stuff. So I'm gonna get Denise to come over. That's why she's making that
Yeah.
face, y'all. That's a whole nother sister self-care episode. The
That is, we have got to.
the
Look,
purge.
look, guys, I may even go over there and do the video while I'm,
Woo!
be like, sitting.
We'll never get video proof of that.
I know.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining.
All right,
Love you,
everybody.
Denise. Thank you,
Have a
Yo-Yo, for
great
joining.
day.
Have a wonderful rest of your day, ladies.
Yes.
Remember, take care of yourselves.
Take care of yourself. All right.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.